Welcome to a new and special episode of All About the E. Special because this episode will be in English thanks to my special guest who's joining me for an interview. So if my English isn't the best thing since sliced bread, please be nice because it's not my first language. But enough about me. It's time to talk about my guest. He is a three-time WCW World Champion and the king of Bada Bing, Bada Boom, Bada Bang and the creator of DDP Yoga. He is DDP.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm fine, and it's an honor to have you here. The first and most investigative question, how are you?
Very, very good. We opened up the DDP Yoga Performance Center here in Atlanta, Georgia, and the response has been amazing. You know, we just dropped, we just actually unleashed the DDP Yoga Now app, which is getting rave reviews. And in the States and the UK and Canada, we just released the resurrection of Jake the Snake, which is the story of the turnaround of Jake the Snake Roberts, and very inspirational. We've gotten rave reviews all the way around for all three things, so it's a pretty great time right now.
Yeah, everybody has given the documentary great reviews. Steve Austin, I think Mick Foley talked about it. I think it must be very good. We will talk about it because we couldn't see it yet, but we will go to this topic later because this is a podcast from Germany. The WCW came to Germany even for a pay-per-view, and you were part of a TV special in 1997. You wrestled Mike Rotunda, the father of Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt, who is known in his role as IRS in WWF. Do you have any memories or stories about wrestling in Germany?
Actually, I do have one memory. I have a lot of memories of being in Germany. I was really amazed how the fans would come. You know, some of them would like start a tour, and they'd pick us up at a certain city, and then they would come. The same fans would go from one town to another to another. I thought that was really amazing. And I met this really beautiful girl back then named Manu. So I liked that they were touring around with us for a bit. But both my grandparents are from Germany. My grandfather on my mother's side is from the Black Forest area, so it was good to see. We have a lot of my cousins there and stuff. So it was good seeing. At first time I'd ever really been to Germany, and I loved it. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because in Germany we can't get our head around you traveling all around that country. USA is a lot bigger than Germany, and for us it takes 1 hour, 1 or 2 hours to get to another city, and you travel days to wrestle in another city. That is just insane for us. So I think we're part of the most you were part of the most polarizing title change in wrestling history when you dropped your title to David Arquette. In an interview, Russo said it was probably your idea to use Arquette, but I don't think you thought they would go that far. Or what is your opinion on that?
You have to remember, I didn't drop the title to David Arquette. David was on my team.
Yeah.
You know, so it was against Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff, and David Arquette beat Eric Bischoff. And whoever won that match got the world title. And it's funny that I just did a podcast with Vince Russo, who said it was probably Dallas Page's idea. Oh my God, that's funny. Because when they told me, I just started laughing. I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. What are we going to do? And he went, no, that's what we're going to do. I'm going, yeah, right. What are we going to do? What's the deal? And no, that's what we're going to do. Like, you're not serious. Like, you're serious. And I tried to talk him out of it for a half an hour, but Bischoff had just come back to work with Russo, so I think Bischoff was just he was like, all right, Vince wants to do that. I think he was just sort of not trying to rock the boat, but long story short, when I told David, he was like, he started laughing. He's like, yeah, right. So what are you guys going to do? I go, no, dude, you're going to beat Bischoff and you're going to be the world champ. And he looked at me and went, no, we can't do that. I go, believe me, I just spent a half an hour trying to say that, but they're going to do it. So you can either, it's so funny to me that so many people are upset about that. And all the people that are upset, the fans, if they were in David's position, would have done the exact same thing. They might have paid tens of thousands of dollars to be in David's position.
I would have done the same.
Absolutely.
I admit it. And
everyone that's so critical would have done the same thing.
I think it's the writer who's responsible for the script. And if somebody would say, hey, you win the WWE Championship, what should I do?
You got to remember, though, Vince made himself the WCW champion, too.
Yeah.
So that was equally as preposterous to me. Yeah.
So. It's there's a saying, if a writer writes himself, everybody loses.
Yeah, and that's pretty true. All the way around at some point or another.
Yeah. So you got involved with wrestling pretty late, but you also stayed there for a long time. Does a talent from WWE, TNA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, or the Indies reach out to you to get an advice? And do you see yourself as a mentor of a wrestler today?
There's a couple people I mentor that you haven't heard about yet. And it wouldn't make any sense for me to tell you who they are because they'll probably have a different name by the time they get there. But I try to help out some of the young talent here and there. I'm more about the fitness end of it right now, as far as more than anything, try to keep them in the ring. There's no way Chris Jericho is still wrestling. He wouldn't have been wrestling the last 5 years if it wasn't for DDP Yoga.
Yeah, he said it a lot of times.
Yeah, Dustin Rhodes, same thing. AJ Styles just showed up in WWE 6 weeks ago. He was at the DDP Yoga Performance Center because his back was shot.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of AJ Styles. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. We're just putting a video. I thought it went up already on DDP TV on YouTube. And it shows AJ coming to the Performance Center. It shows him, working out with me. So he's a great kid. He's a great kid.
Yeah, I watched him in Ring of Honor, in TNA, in New Japan. I think he's an awesome wrestler, and he has a bright future in WWE, I think. But any other wrestlers who reach out, who are in the current roster?
Yeah, guys who've come together, like when Ryback was injured, coming back. A lot of guys I just talked to Edge and Beth Phoenix, because they're both retired now, but they just got the app, because I take care of all the people who, all the boys and the girls work with our stuff. I give it all to them because I want them to be able to heal their body. But there's a long list of guys that are doing it. When they're injured, to come back off. The guys who are smart, the ones who continue to do it all the time, they don't get hurt.
Yeah. Because you talk about it, mentoring a lot of guys was or maybe is becoming a trainer in a promotion an option for you?
No, not really. Again, my DDP Yoga company is, it's a multi-million-dollar company, and I don't know if you saw the video of the disabled veteran that I helped, walk again, who couldn't walk.
Arthur?
Yes, Arthur. There's another guy who's just out. I mean, there's so many people. I could never list everybody. But the last video was the guy named Jarrett, who lost 313 pounds in 17 months.
I saw that on Boogie's channel, who you visited.
Yeah, Boogie. Yeah, I would love to. I try to help Boogie, but Boogie doesn't have the stick-to-itiveness. He's a great guy. I love him. He just doesn't have that in his body. He's let it go so long. His body's in a lot of pain. So I've helped him get out of some of the pain, but it would take like every single day doing a total crazy transformation for him to really get to the next step.
Yeah, but I think you helped a lot of people who are not even involved with the wrestling, but it's awesome what you've done to Jake Roberts and Scott Hall. What do you think was the key to success? Scott Hall was in rehab, I think, 12 times. Was it the personal relationship with them?
I think it's getting each of them to understand, because they both trust me. I always say, without Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, there is no Diamond Dallas Page. But without Jake Snake Roberts, I'm never a 3-time world champion, because he taught me so much about the psychology of wrestling, from interviews to the work in the ring, telling a story. So Scott, I developed, there was no Razor Ramon if there wasn't a diamond stud first. And, I'm the one who created all that look for Scott Hall. And he took it up to WWE, and turned it into Razor Ramon. And then he made mazillions of dollars there. So when he came back, he wanted to help me too. So it was just another time for me to help him again. And between Scott and Jake, the biggest thing I had to get them to understand, they had to stop telling the story they tell themselves. We all have an inner voice that tells us whether we're right, whether we're wrong, whether this is a good thing, whether this is a bad thing. We've all had dark things happen in our lives. If you continue to focus on the darkness, your life will get darker and darker and darker. That's where Jake and Scott were. They were in a dark spot for a very long time. And they kept telling that story to themselves over and over and over again. Einstein, maybe the smartest man ever, a German, he said that the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. That's what they were doing, telling that same story over and over and over again. And when you're an addict, whether it's booze, pills, coke, crack, there's a lot of shame involved. A lot of shame. And you've got to get them out of that dark spot, blaming themselves for everything, and accepting where they are today. And you can't change what's in the past. All you can do is change what you do today, tomorrow, and moving forward. The story you tell yourself is pivotal. What you focus on is pivotal. Your physiology is pivotal. Because if you ever watch someone who's upset and crying, aren't they all hunched over?
Yeah.
Take someone who's upset and crying with their shoulders rolled back and a smile on their face. Doesn't happen. You'll never see it. So your physiology is key. Next, it's what you're focusing on. Next, it's that internal dialogue. So Jake has a very dark past. So we've done many interviews together.
Yeah, and I want to say, sorry to interrupt you, but sure. I watched the HBO documentary on your channel, and there was a part of Jake the Snake telling things about his past, and he said, I'm gonna play with your emotions to the interviewer, and after that he starts crying and said, that's who I am. And I think that you couldn't write it better, for it was so emotional. It was just so heartbreaking to see him like that, a man who has accomplished so much, and just saying, okay, because I'm afraid of you, I'm gonna play with your emotions. I thought that was a masterpiece of a scene of a personality, to see his personality.
Well, for Jake, he would always, in these interviews, he would always talk about his dark past. And one day, in the middle of the interview, because they were interviewing both of us, I said to the reporter, would you mind if we took a break for a second? He's like, no, no. So I pulled Jake off to the side, and I said, Jake, everyone knows that story now. You got to stop telling that story. Because that's the story you cycle in your brain over and over and over again. Why don't you talk about all the amazing things that are happening? Like, you're healthier. You feel 10, 20 years younger. Your kids are talking to you again. Your life is changing. You are changing your destiny. Your history is not your destiny. And that was the beginning of Jake focusing on all the amazing things that were happening in his life. And that was the beginning. And he still fell. You know, he fell a couple of times. But at some point, it clicked in. Jake Roberts is one of the most positive guys that I know right now. You know, and it's because you got to live that. Scott Hall said, I drank the Kool-Aid. You know, it's like, this positive stuff really works. I'm like, yeah, dude, it does. You know, Muhammad Ali said, the repetitions of affirmations leads to success. And once that, once it becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. Repetition of affirmations. Muhammad Ali said that. How many times did he say, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest of all time? Do you know, when they picked the top 100 athletes of the 20th century, Muhammad Ali was number one.
Didn't know that.
Now, did he just do that by telling everybody he's the greatest 1,000 times? I don't know. Was he the greatest athlete of that century? Well, according to the record books, he is.
Yeah. And what you said was also very interesting, because I think Jake Roberts, I couldn't see him in his prime because I wasn't even born. But I think he gave the best Hall of Fame speech I have ever heard. This was so amazing, because he got from the his dark places to why he's enjoying the life right now. And that's what you said. He concentrated on more positive stuff, and then he talks about his family, how he's with them again, and something like this. It was so good to hear this speech from a man who was literally broken.
Yeah, he was just waiting to die. And when you see the resurrection of Jake the Snake, the reason we don't have it released right now in Germany is because we're putting subtitles. We're adding subtitles for German Spanish, French, and Japanese.
Ah, that's awesome. I'm not an iTunes fan, but I got iTunes to buy this documentary. It wasn't out yet, but I'm hugely against Apple. But for this documentary, I registered for iTunes to see this documentary. I think it will be awesome. But another question. Jake the Snake and Scott Hall have very different personalities.
Yes.
Was there any difference in their progress? And how do you react to that?
Well, Jake fell a number of times, and found his way to booze a number of times while still living here. And Scott never did that. Scott fell after he left here. And there's a couple times where he just got stupid, drunk. And then he'd go on a binge for a week or whatever until I could finally convince him, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? You got to change the story you're telling yourself. And then he'd come off, and then he might go back on. So 3 months now, 3 months now, Scott's been sober again, about 3. And he's doing amazing. Now, hopefully he can keep it up,
Yeah.
Jake, I could tell what to do. If I told Jake, you need to do it this way, he knew I was talking from the heart, and he knew that I knew. Scott, I could suggest, because Scott's never going to be told what to do. So it was, I handled completely different situations with both. Do you know who Josh Brolin is?
No.
You don't know who the actor Josh Brolin is?
No, not
You've seen him a bunch of times. God, he's been in so many movies. If you Google him, you'll look at his face and you'll know who he is.
Ah, yes, in Sicario. Okay, Sicario was my top 4 film in 2015. Ah, okay. I didn't know his name, but okay, I knew most of his movies.
Yes, right. You know his face. He's an amazing actor. His father is a famous actor too, James Brolin. He saw the movie. One of my other executive producers is a guy named Chris Bell, and Chris did the movie Bigger, Stronger, Faster, and he had given the movie to Josh to watch, and he sent him this text back. Just watched the documentary, and I am in stunned silence. A happy ending. And then he put in parentheses, or at least for now. And he put a question mark. And then he wrote, wow, DDP, what an amazing guy. A real man. Thank you so much for turning me on to this. A great story of hope and love and real compassion. I needed to see that. Sincerely.
That's awesome.
Bree Wild, huh?
Yeah. Another question I have is, did you reach out to more wrestlers who have lost their path?
Nope. It's not like that's not how it went. When I did this for Jake because he did it for me.
Okay.
And then people started to write, what Jake did for me, like I say, it was, help me make millions of dollars and live the dream at a level. You got to remember, and I love these people on the internet who are kids who have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But the highest point of my career was when we were killing the WWE.
Yeah, and I think
every week we were killing them in the ratings. Not beating them, crushing them.
Yeah, and then it's interesting. Sorry to interrupt, but in the documentaries, I think it's a little unfair how the WWE on their network put on these shows, because I don't like this. They wrote the history because they won the war, but I think they are not really fair to WCW and acknowledge that they were nearly bankrupt.
Right, and it's funny. It's funny to me. And, you know, today I'm getting my best push ever with the WWE. You know, getting to host all 3 Best of Nitros. And kudos to the WWE. They let me say whatever I wanted to. I got to, you know, show up 1000th Raw, hit Heath Slater with a cutter, show up on Old School Raw with Jake, induct Jake into the Hall of Fame. I mean, you know, they've been very good to me. So I have no complaints. I'd rather have the push now than 15 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. And now you have an app for DDP Yoga with, in my opinion, by far the best register section ever. You have to check it out. But could you explain what this app is for and what we could do with it?
Well, first of all the workouts that I've been selling, you know, for the last couple of years, they're all on the app. But also all the brand new workouts that are now on our new DVDs that we've just put out. We've added DDPY for kids. There's 3 different videos that are up right now, 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute, and it's kids 7 to 12. So you've got me working with these young kids that are having a ball. Then there's another one where people are beat up. And one of the things that Arthur Borman, the disabled veteran, he had to use a chair to get back up and get down and to balance on. I used the same thing with Jake and with Scott, because they couldn't go from standing to the floor and get back up again without a chair. So in the beginning, they needed 2. Then it went to 1. Then it went to no chair. So I have a whole series now called Beginner. And it's all around a chair. I've got all these new workouts that I made exclusively for Chris Jericho. You know, different workouts I made for different people. A lot of them were filmed at the Accountability Crib. Now, everything's filmed at the DDP Yoga Performance Center. And what we do, like, and let me see, I'll pull up the app right now. If I pull up the app right now, it's going to tell me the next live workout will be in 20 hours, 22 minutes, and 51 seconds. Because I'm always doing live workouts as well. I might do anywhere from 4 to 8 a month that are live at all different times. Now that live workout, once it's over, will go right into the queue so anybody can do it. It'll stay up there live for like 4 hours, and then it goes into the queue, meaning that it's very much like Netflix. You guys have Netflix over there, right?
Of course. I love it.
So, you know, you can just keep sliding movies. Well, you can just keep sliding workouts. And they're all positioned, whether they're beginner or intermediate or advanced or psycho. They're all noted up on the screen. So that's just the workouts. We also, if you have a Bluetooth heart monitor, well, your heart monitor is going to connect right to the workout. So now you can track when you're in your fat burning zone, when you're working too hard, when you're not working hard enough. Now, as soon as you connect your Bluetooth heart monitor to my DDP Yoga Now app, you're going to get 500 points. If you do the workout without the heart monitor, you're still going to get points. But if you wear the heart monitor, you're going to get double the points. Now, there's also a custom spot where you can do custom workouts. And if you push the custom button, well, now it takes you to a whole different screen. Your heart rate monitor is going to hook up to it. Now you could go cycling or running or hiking and still track all your workouts. We also track your 6 pictures, your weight, your measurements. Because a lot of people really, they need to measure if they're losing weight, because a lot of times you may not lose any kilos or pounds. You might lose inches that month. And inches is what really everybody wants to lose, so they look better. So we track your inches, your pain. If you have pain in your back, your knees, your shoulder, we track it. Blood pressure, blood sugar, A1C. Now that's for diabetes. So every time you, once a month, put these tracking, the information in there, we're going to give you points. Now, what are these points good for? The points are good for a t-shirt that you can only get on DDP Yoga now. One of our water bottles, a mat. You can build up to having a weekend at the accountability crib. Now, we haven't put all that out there, but that's what it's going to be about. The points are worth something. So the off of the workouts, we've also have all the nutrition. And I show you how to make healthy, amazing food that tastes amazing. So I just don't show you how to do it with the directions and the recipe. There's a video I shot at the PC in our cooking kitchen. And I do a whole cooking show. I might do it with my wife, Brenda. I might do it with Jade or my daughter, Brittany. Different people, I go in and I do different recipes. So, that shows you how to eat healthy. Then there's the whole inspirational section, DDP TV. And there I get into inspiring you to stay on the program and keep motivated and keep moving forward. So this is the first app ever. Really, it's the first program ever that does everything. If you put the work in, it's going to come. Now, the one thing that's coming in March or probably April will be the first ever video wake-up alarm clock. It's the DDP video wake-up alarm clock. So if you put your Droid phone or your iPad or your tablet or your iPhone next to your bed and you set the alarm, instead of hearing bump, 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 you're going to hear, yo, monkey, get out of bed.
I need this so badly. I have an alarm clock where I have to solve math problems. This is so ridiculous, but I think this is something I'm very looking for, and also the recipes. I think that's something I would need, and yeah, that sounds really awesome.
Yeah, and everything's done right out of the Performance Center. Like, I built this DDP Yoga Performance Center for the app. So it's a $3.5 million project. I just didn't build the app on iPhone. I built it on iPhone, iPad, Droid, tablet, and your computer screen. So what that means is, if I have to spend $10,000 on an upgrade, it just costs me $50,000.
Yeah. And the performance center is right where you live, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, right where I live, about a mile. And the thing is, everyone who works out should get this app, even if they don't do DDP Yoga. What do you call the subscription? After that, it's $8.99 a month, and people spend way more money on that when it comes to their health and fitness. This has everything. No other app or fitness program gives you what DDP Yoga does.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to see the improvements. You said new video alarm clock, and I think in the future we will see a lot of new stuff on the app and on DDP Yoga. And my last question is, as a, I think, future Hall of Famer, what is your opinion and on the most important thing to get involved into the wrestling business? Not as a wrestler, but because some of my fans and some people don't even want to be a wrestler, they want to be a manager or a booker or commentator. What do you think is the most important thing to get involved with the business?
The independents. You know, the people who are doing this, you know, in your local town or city, and try to get involved there, because you'll never go any farther than there if you haven't started there. In other words, you have to start somewhere. And does Alex Wright still has his promotion, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while, but I know he was doing really good with that. You know, there's a guy who's been to the show. You know, he's been there. So he has a really good handle on it. And some of these other people are just trying to start. You know, I always tell people, go to the promoter and tell them you'll set the ring up and help out for free. And that's how you start. And pay your dues. And at some point, it could come full circle, and then, you know, you got a spot, and then you just grow from there.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Thanks. That's really awesome, because it also helps, I think, the infrastructure, which is not very good in Germany, but I think if more people get involved with it, then the infrastructure for wrestling could grow in Germany. And
I agree.
And that's all questions I had. I want to thank you for your time. It was really awesome. I hope my English was well enough. And I can't thank you enough for this interview. It was totally awesome. I will never forget it. It was so good.
I just tell you, your English was really good. way better than my German would have been. If anybody out there wants to follow me on Twitter, I am at Real DDP, as in REAL DDP, at DDP Yoga. Try to get to that one at least once a day. Also, Facebook. You want to know more about DDP Yoga? Just go on DDP YOGA, one word, and look where it says members only, and like that page, and they'll accept you. Then instead of hearing about me telling you how great it is, read what other people write about it. Go on Twitter. Read what other people write about the program. If you want the DVDs that are you can invest in right now, you also get 3 months of the app DDP Yoga Now for free. 3 months, complete usage. And that's how people are trying it and getting it. And then go to iTunes or Google Play and write a review. Or just go read what those reviews are. So it's all right there, brother. Hey, listen, man, great talking to you. Have an awesome day. It's been your pleasure.
Yeah, I'll put all the links in the description where you can find DDP, and also my channel for if you want to listen to more interviews. Then I'm very looking forward to it. And thanks for your time. I think that's all, and goodbye.